I'm Anke Summerhill from Minotti London, and today for the Minotti Sofa Chat I have the lovely Sabine Roemer here. Sabine is a person I've admired for a long time, or more to the point, I really admire her jewellery. It's a big time on my wish list. Sabine is a master goldsmith, not just a goldsmith. Welcome, Sabine. Thank you for coming. I'm really happy to have you here. Now, tell me, I know you had this wish of becoming a goldsmith or jewellery maker, I guess, from a very young age. How did that happen? What made you want to be one?
It was actually funny because when I was little, I grew up in a very small town in Germany. It's called Karlsruhe, and set in the Black Forest, and it was really lovely, but I couldn't feel like I expressed myself there. So I obviously wanted to be a fashion designer. And then my grandmother, she was very, very tall for her generation. So she was like, okay, let's sit down. I show you how to do the pattern and another pattern and another pattern. And I got so bored so quick. I was like, this is not for me. I was like, I couldn't stitch a straight line. And I was like, this is not my work.
Not your passion.
And then my mom was an architect, so she kind of fixed her houses. And every time she was finished, we moved again. So I think kind of she always took me. I have two brothers, but she always felt like I was better with the hands and kind of doing things quicker. So she took me on, and then she was like, well, if it's design, and then we had to do a work experience in school for a week, so 5 days going somewhere and just see if we like it or not. And then I arrived there the first day, and he showed me all the tools, and he's like, you know, sketch something up, and by the end of the week you probably have one piece done and you can take it home. Yeah, I mean, I finished that first piece on the first day. I did 6 pieces in 5 days, and I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So love at first sight, once you tasted a little bit of it.
Just like the workshop and the tools, and I felt like I can stitch, you know, and I couldn't stitch a straight line, but I could sew a straight line.
Yeah.
And the metal was more my medium, then fabric was fluid, I couldn't handle it properly. So for me, it was definitely metal. I found my medium.
Was your thing,
in that sense.
Yeah. So we have to ask you to talk through the jewellery you're wearing today. Because I noticed, I can't help, I know about that ring.
But tell us
probably
very
the
noisy,
story about the beautiful ring. What's it called?
Well, it's the camel ring.
Get it off?
Yes, I'll start getting warm here in the... So I love this ring. First of all, it's one of the first pieces I've done when I launched in Harrods. So that was 2010, so a long time ago. But why I like it, it has so many different techniques in one piece. So first is the sculpting and the molding start actually in wax. And you carve the animal. And it's not perfect, but it's nice because our faces are not perfect. And when you do it on the... Talk for yourself.
What are you saying?
There's a symmetry there, but because it's with hand, and hand has human error, but it's the beauty of it. Because yes, you can do this with computer images, you can scan, you can duplicate it, you can mirror it, but then it looks like a computer spit it out. So this hand sculpting piece, I think, is very beautiful to me. So,
but incredibly skillful as well, because it is a tiny, you know, it's a very, very small piece. And so you're a sculptor, you have so many skills. Do you find people these days, because it's quite a consumer society we live in, you know, people buy, throw away, that now when people do go for quality and bespoke pieces, that the story, you know, is important, the authenticity and what's behind it, how it's made and who's made it, also your story, that people say, oh, I have a Sabine Roemer piece.
Yeah, and it's so different because every Sabine Roemer piece will be different because this person is different, you know, but the one thing they have all in common is my hand signature. I always say, because people with jewelry, they can capture the concept of it. I always say to them, okay, you put 3 artists with a painter with the same stencils in front of a tree and they draw that. It will always look different because everyone put their hand signature into it. So, or like you have your signature, right? You might not be reading the label, but you're like, okay, that's Minotti.
Exactly.
So, but it can be a chair, it can be so it's the same with jewelry. It might be earrings, it might be ring. You can see it's me, even if some is very architectural and some is very ornate. So I think you can see the difference.
You mentioned earlier that when people ask you what's your favorite piece, and you will say it's my next piece. But is there anything you've made in your career so far that stands out for you, that you have like fond memories of, or particularly proud of, or maybe was a very, very special person, or I don't know.
I think it's probably the timelines, right? Which you then, I always say, maybe you thought you're going to be there, but then this happened and it put you on a different path. And I think for one was meeting Nelson Mandela, working with him.
Pretty big highlight.
Yes, and I felt it drove me from my jewellery skills, the goldsmithing skills, into the silversmithing skills, because when I met him, I'm like, I can't make a jewellery piece with his history, and I didn't want to do the bling out, and he can't even wear it on top, right? So before I went to South Africa, I read all the books I could find, and I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And he loves boxing. He was a boxer before he then turned into law and the politics. So when I went to him, I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to do boxing glove, particularly in gold with like diamond encrusted. Yeah. I leave that to someone else. Yeah. And then the story, I was really captured by the story with the Nguni cattle. So, because for them it was food, it was wealth, and he grew up in a little hut, and it was like, he always calls it the mystical attachment in the Long Walk to Freedom book. And so we chose that symbol. And then I silversmithed it because it was too big that you call it goldsmithing. Yes. So it was like a mini sculpture, and then we framed it, and then we auctioned it off on his birthday for his charity. And then that kind of changed my life, because at the same time I was working and got mentored by a lot of people who tried to drag me into this other box of like brand and duplicate and running and managing a company and finding jewelry designers who work for you, makers who work for you. And I was like, I'm getting so removed from what I actually wanted to become. Yeah. So I think with him as well, it kind of changed my thought. And I'm like, I'd rather do, if it's 10 pieces and they're meaningful a year, I prefer that instead of doing millions. Yes. And it's one design. So I think that was for me a big path.
Okay, tell me, what happened with the Oscars?
Yes, so through the Mandela concerts and stuff, I got in touch with Morgan Freeman and all the team there, and he was up for an award. So I was lucky to create a piece for him. And when I was speaking to him, I was like, the obvious choice is to make a diamond across a bow that everyone sees and talks about. And I'm like, it's not what it's about. No. So I was like, I wanted to put the story on the red carpet, how we met, and we met through Mandela. And he did that year, he was nominated for Invictus, where he played the role of Nelson Mandela. And so we created these bangles at the time, which was sold through the charity, and it has the prison number on there, so it's 46664. And so we kind of made 2 one-of-a-kind pieces, which he then wore at the Oscars on the red carpet, and he talked about it in Jay Leno's show. Yeah, it was a very special moment. And then again, like I was like auction them off and to his charity. So, but again, for me, it was like the storytelling. There's more than just a jewelry piece on the red carpet.
So Sabine, so not only are you a great designer, you're also a businesswoman. Obviously, you're running your own business, doing your bespoke jewelry, doing your what I call your everyday jewelry. So, and you're doing that more or less by yourself. So you're a little entrepreneur. Yes. So tell us about the ups and downs of running your own business, because that is very challenging. No downs. No. And also, obviously, during COVID, you know, you had your creative moment. We'll come back to that. But the business side is a big part, really, too.
And I think because I have to say the German system probably prepared me for that a little bit, because I think when you just doing your design degree, I mean, I don't know, but in Germany we had like 16 subjects, and I was like, oh, I just wanted to learn how to sketch and to draw and to make, right? And then you rock up there and they're like, oh, this is the law side, this is how you do calculations, because if you calculate, you know, and you're off by 10 pounds, it's okay, but 10 pounds per gram can get expensive, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think they actually prepared me quite well, especially the master degree. And in Germany, you're only, at the time, now I think it changed, I haven't been there for a long time, but they prepared you with your master degree that you're then allowed to open a shop.
Okay.
So you learn all the kind of...
So they make sure you're really well prepared, that you don't just open a shop just and because you're a good designer and then have no idea of what to charge.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think that was very helpful. And then obviously it's a lot of learning by doing, especially in a different country. But then I have to say, then you just have to go and buy the bullet and find an accountant and does the accounts for you. I'm not going to sit there. And what he does in half an hour, it probably takes me 3 weeks, you know?
Yes, yes.
So there's certain things you have to outsource.
Delegate, yeah.
And he was like, I mean, bless him. He's been with me from the beginning.
So
and I
nice,
always just give him a box of like, this is Atelier Romy, this is Sabine Roemer, these are the receipts, here. And then he does his thing. Then obviously when you employ people, you have to have certain things you learn and there's different regulations and rules.
Yes.
But I think I slowly grew into the role and running a company. But in Sabine Roemer, it's just me, like in the high jewellery.
Yes.
And I felt like when I launched in Harrods and it kind of grew too quickly that you needed like a sales representative, a press person. And quite frankly, I'm like, the press always wanted to talk to me anyway. In the end, I was like, why do I have this person when I end up doing my emails as well anyway? So, yeah, in the end, it's just me. No one else to blame. So
you're keeping the superwoman ring for yourself.
Yeah, for myself, exactly.
So during lockdown, you had time. You couldn't travel. You were stuck at home, so you could lock yourself into your workshop. And did you anything amazing come out?
Yeah, so I had 2 challenges. The one business, Atelier Romy, which is, you call it the everyday jewelry.
I call it your everyday, easy. Not that the other stuff you can't wear every day.
No, but it's, and I wanted to always create a brand because obviously these stuff comes with a different price tag. And I think my mum turned 60 and me and my brothers, we were like, okay, let's just chip in, but let's buy her something nice.
Yeah.
And I remember we were living next to Harrods. I was like, let's walk into the jewelry and what could you actually buy? 300, 600 pounds, let's name it, right? But what can you buy, what you will actually treasure forever?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's nothing.
No.
So there's obviously, I don't want to call names again, but there's a lot of sterling silver brands, which you then at least you have precious metal. It's not the brass, gold plated, which breaks and then you can throw it in the bin because you can repair it. And I think that's the big difference, which, you know, fashion companies picking up now slowly as well. They're starting to do sterling silver, gold plated, and not overpriced brass, gold plated, which you can put in the bin.
Sabine, I also know that you've been working on your home.
Yes.
Recently. And so just briefly touch on that, being in the interior design and architectural business.
Yes.
Tell me, what's your style at home?
I think I realized when you start from scratch, it's worth investing into that one furniture piece you love because it will make a room. But if you have these timeless pieces, they don't overpower either.
Exactly.
Like there's subtle statements. It's not like you walk in, you're like, oh, there's like
green
velvet sofa and you see it. And it's a skill to put black, gray, off-whites together that it actually works.
Yes.
It was another thing where I was like, oh my God, why? I just thought you just plump them together and it works. But it's always about proportions and depth and the off-white. We painted all the, I think this is all off-white as well, right? It's not white. And all
There's
our
so many
walls
shades of white. There's so many shades of black.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Unbelievable.
And, so, and all of a sudden, you know, the ceiling has this color and this. And I got really into it, and I'm like,
got carried away.
Yes. And
are you happy with the result? Now you're coming towards the end.
Not done, but we're getting there. But I felt, and then you don't want to do the obvious design, which you then blast over Instagram and then disappear in a year's time. So I felt I was more drawn, like Minotti, you know, and other brands where they're more like
timeless,
the timeless design classics, you know,
like your jewelry.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Or for a long time.
And for me, it was then the art can speak.
Yeah.
You know, like they can be a bit noisy. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Have a maybe, I mean, not too much color, but a little bit
some color.
Some color. And then an art statement, and that then can speak for itself.
Sabine, it's been so nice having you here. I love it. Love your work. Love you. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for making me part of this. And I love all your stuff as well. The nice beige box with shades of grays and whites and blacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to see some more of our videos, including the suggestion on the screen, please click on the Minotti London logo to subscribe.